you remember how the plans were made for you to come to the United States?
Yes. My Aunt Irina, my father's younger sister, she wanted to come out here, so she came out here as my guardian. At that time, you were quarters, you know.
No, no. Tell me about how it worked. I don't know.
Well, anyway, she came out here as my guardian for the trip.
You remember how the plans were made for the trip? Were they made in the United States and everything paid for in the United States?
Everything was made in the United States.
And everything was paid for in the United States?
Everything was paid in the United States.
Now, you were on the ranch, and your aunt and Irene, and you left the ranch to come to the United States. Do you remember how you traveled when you
Yes.
left the ranch and went to which port you went?
When I left the range, we went to Prague
How did you travel to Prague?
by train. From Prague, we went to Leipzig. And from Leipzig, went to another port. We had to change trains. And from Leipzig, we ended up in Antwerp, Belgium. And from there, you're supposed to take a boat from there.
And do you remember the name of the boat you were on?
No.
What type of boat was it?
It was mostly freight. There was a few passengers on it, but mostly freight. And the boat we went on, of course, I was the only big macher. My aunt spoke Romanian and Hungarian. And she couldn't speak Yiddish, and I spoke Yiddish. And Yiddish is half German, and they understood me a little bit.
You know, on the farm, they didn't speak any Yiddish at all.
No. Not a word.
So it was very hard then. Your aunt couldn't have talked with your grandparents.
No.
Because to the extent that your grandparents.
They understood maybe a little bit, but they couldn't. They only spoke Hungarian and Romanian. Those two languages they spoke fluently.
But they didn't speak Yiddish, and in Bochco, they only spoke Yiddish.
Yeah. That's
You
where
want
the
to
rub
get
came in.
excuse me?
That's where the rub came in when they came over. There was communication wasn't so good. I had to be the interpreter.
In other words, the people here in the United States that had grown up in the shtetls only spoke American and Yiddish. And the people who came from the farm didn't speak either any Yiddish or American, so although they came from the same country, they couldn't really talk to each other.
That's right.
So,
But after a while, most of the grown-ups, don't forget, the grown-ups did learn to speak. Romanian they had to learn to speak because it was, don't forget, those years that were ahead, at that time was called Austria-Hungary. Now Austria owned all of Hungary, all of Romania, and all of Czechoslovakia. It was all under one sort of a government, Austria-Hungarian government. Franz Josef was the king at that time. After the war, it was broken up. Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, and Romania, and so it was broken up into all these little sections.
before that, it was just a very large country. Okay, well, you arrived in Antwerp and you went to Antwerp entirely by train. Do you remember what type of train accommodations you had? Did you have any sleeping cars, or were you just like in a coach section? What was the train like?
Mostly coach sections, mostly coach.
And what type of food was there on the train? Or don't you remember anything about
that? I do remember one thing though, I asked for coffee. And they served me coffee, black coffee. with no cream and no sugar. I couldn't drink it. I couldn't drink it. When I tried to tell the conductor I wanted sugar, sugar for what? And I wanted milk for the coffee. They couldn't understand me. I had to drink it black. Because, you see, especially when I was on the ranch, what they did is they boiled the milk. You know the skin, the top of the skin of the milk when it's boiled, you know? They used that as cream. And I had coffee, and I had the milk, and they had cream on top, and sugar. It tasted like milk, malted milk, you know. And here, when I come and asked for coffee, they gave me black coffee. I couldn't drink the goddamn thing. It was a Leipzig too.
What do you remember about the boat ride?
Boat ride, that was a rough ride.
Well, what type of accommodations did you have?
My aunt and I slept in one bed. And there was a few more passengers, maybe a dozen or more passengers, half women and half men. I remember one woman, a younger woman. We were watching how the other man worked, and the other man, I don't know what kind of boat it was. Anyway, the other man had a skirt on, and the skirt fell off, and the schmuck was hanging out. And she yelled out and screamed, you know, that the man was hanging, was working over there with a schmuck, you know. And they used to sing songs, and we were over about 3 weeks we were on the water. And we traveled, instead of coming to New York, this freight boat went to Quebec, Canada.
Do you remember the stops on the way?
Yes, we landed in Quebec. And we landed in Quebec. My passport was a U.S. citizen passport because I became a citizen with my father. I was a citizen at that time. My mother, myself, all the children became a citizen at the same time my father did. All right. So I had American citizenship. I could speak a word English. And of course, my aunt, she had a visa that permitted me to come to her as my guardian, to take me over. So when it came to immigration, they put me on the side. They wanted to check on me. So they took me off there and put me in. It looked like a prison, you know. And my aunt in another section. And I slept over there, and I stayed over there for overnight, a day and a night, because they went to check on my papers. They wanted to be sure. And I was roaming around the prison, saw those prisoners work. We talked mostly French, I could understand them, maybe these other languages. But in the afternoon, the two guards came and picked me up. And they took me down into the steam room. They gave me a bath, and they washed me up real good. They gave me a scrubbing like I never had, because I was full of lice, you know. And clothes they cleaned, and they dressed me up, and took me over and picked my hand up, and they put me in a car that time, you know, one of the motor cars. Wasn't a truck, it was a regular touring car. But as a touring car, took me over to the train, two of them, to the train, my aunt and me. When there was a conductor, they gave the pass, they put me right on the train, goodbye. And from that, here, my folks didn't know where the hell I was. They didn't hear from me for 2 weeks. Then they took me over to, from Quebec to Montreal. Montreal, I changed from Montreal, they told me what train to take to Detroit. And from Detroit, I took a train to Chicago. So I done quite a bit of traveling. But it usually took 2 weeks, or maybe 10 days the most, 2 weeks, you know. It took me almost 4 weeks by the time I got to Chicago. When I got to Chicago, my cousins, of course, who recognized me, came here before, Sidney and Irene. And then they introduced me, this is your mom and your dad. And my 2 sisters, you know. And it took me a year's time before I had the nerve to call Mom. I waited for them to address me in order to answer my dad to couldn't call him Papa or Mother or something. I don't know, I just couldn't come out of my mouth. And till I got used to it, you know. And of course, my sister, I started school with my friend. And I was 6 years old. She went to first grade, and so did I. We started the same grade at the same time. Of course, I was there 1 week, and the second week I was in higher grade, the third week in higher grade. By the time I came in, it was in April. Yes, in April I came in. Just a month I was bar mitzvah.
You arrived right at the time of your bar mitzvah.
I was bar mitzvah over at the Garment and the Shul.
Well, tell me about your bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah? Well, I was only here about a month or so. My dad asked me, you think you can daven enough for the bar mitzvah? Yes, I studied that for a long time. I can. And I hope so. So it took me over to Claremont Avenue, sure, and I was bar mitzvah there. They had a celebration. People that my mother had a boarding in our house for school. It's a place where we sobers had a little party there. And that was my bar mitzvah.
What do you remember about your bar mitzvah ceremony? Was it in shul? What did they do?
All they did, I said the block over the Torah. And that's all it was.
Did you read from the Torah at all?
No. I was lucky enough to be able to read from the Siddur.
Well, you got there, kid.
Of course, I couldn't speak the language in English. I spoke Yiddish. And the temple, of course, Sidney. Then I learned mostly from the kids, right? I picked up the English, especially when I started to go to school. And my sister, well, they spoke a little Yiddish, because that's how mother spoke to us, so Yiddish all the time. So she spoke Yiddish and English. Right. And then, of course, my uncles came, they spoke Hungarian, which I understood very well. Uncle Max and my other cousins, you know, all they spoke was Hungarian. Well, then I left home.
How old was Bernice then?
Bernice is 12 years younger than me.
She was a baby when you were here.
Yes, she was 1 year old.
About the size of David?
Size of David.
That's, how did it feel to come to a ready-made family?
Well, like I told you, it took me almost a year's time before I was able to say, hello, Mama, hello, or Dad, I'll do this, I'll do that. I kept quiet, and when he talked to me, I answered him, I talked to him, and so forth. That's how it was. I felt very much like a stranger. I didn't feel like they were my mother and father.
Your When you came to the United States, was there anything you missed from Europe? What did you, was there anything you wished you still had or would wanted to go back to Europe for?
No, not much. I tell you why. Because from the first day or the second day I was here, I right away got busy with schooling, with my sisters. My sisters are they right away took a loving to me, you know how they are. Always crazy about babies, especially babies when she was that old, like David is now. And I hugged them, kissed them, and bought them. And Fran, she was 6, 7 years old, you know. And the brother, they kept on talking about the brother. Here I come, and they didn't know what to do. So I kept kind of busy with them. Then I kept busy with going to school. And took a walk with my sister and bought a candy like that. Went over to Mrs. Caston's store. And Mrs. Car, she called it candy car. I thought that was the name of the candy, car. I came in, asked for car. Candy for the sister. And Bernice and I were very close, to this day. As a matter of fact, before I married your mother, she slept with me in bed. I was in Gary and I came home to Chicago and I had a room. It was cold, so she made sure that she was in bed with me. And I slept with her in bed every weekend. At first, Sally kicked her out.
Do you remember any childhood diseases you had when you were in Europe and how they were treated?
Yes. The only thing I remember as far as this, I had a toothache. And I went to Dr. Munkachi. And he had to get 2 people to come in and help hold me down while he pulled my tooth out. That's the only thing I remember.
They didn't have any painkillers in those days?
No, they didn't have no painkillers. They just opened my mouth out and 2 people held me down, they held my legs, they held my hands. And he forces the mouth open and he pulled my teeth.
So were you what you call a difficult patient?
Well, I was that lady, they had to have 2 men to hold me down as a kid. They pulled my tooth out, that's all I remember as far as sickness is concerned. I may have had other sickness. But as far as doctors success, my time I had the Dr. Munkachi, that I remember of.
Do you remember how you learned about sex as a young man?
As a young man, yes. I started to learn sex when the first inkling I got about sex when I was traveling with my Aunt Irene. We slept in one room, in the same bed. And one night, when I was sleeping, she brought in somebody to sleep with me. I knew it. One of the hotels that we stayed in. I don't remember what city it was. And that's the first thing we got about sex that I
Did you ever discuss it with Irene? Anything was ever said?
And she had a couple more men after that, but I was mostly asleep. Only ones that I remember. She fucked me right alongside of me in bed.
cross-section Europe. I mean, you saw it with Irene, but, the farm.
The farm. Oh yes, I had there was one little girl, she was maybe a year or two older than me, and the servants tried to get her and me together on the range, and either I was too young even to pay attention to it, but she wanted it. The girl was older, a year or two older than me, and she played around with me and tickled me and laughed and rolled around on the floor and so forth. But that's as far as it got. I was too young to comprehend about it. Too young.
What did you bring from Europe to the United States?
What about? Well, the only thing I can remember was the old schmatters that I wore.
Was there anything
Oh yeah,
special?
I had this done.
That's a tattoo,
Tattoo.
2 hearts.
And with German.
It was 2 hearts, and that
Yes.
was, where was that done?
It was done in Britain, Liverpool, I don't know which one.
And why did you do that? Why did you have the tattoo?
You see the name on it?
No,
You read it?
no, I can't read it.
F-E-B.
Okay, what is that for?
Figure as real babe.
Oh, it's for your grandmother.
That's it. F-E-B.
That was done to remind you of your grandmother Peggy.
Not to forget.
That's very nice. It's nice to have something like that as a good memory.
See that? I was 12 years old at the time.
Yeah, let me make sure we get that good on the camera. Picture of your tattoo. And that was done in either Antwerp or in Liverpool?
Yes.
Okay, well that is very nice. What do you remember about the actual trip itself? What ports you stopped on the boat trip?
We haven't, well, when we went with Antwerp, we went to Liverpool. And from Liverpool, we went across the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and we landed in Quebec.
So was this one stop?
Just one stop. In Liverpool we stopped.
You said there were like a dozen people on the ship with you. Do you know?
Maybe a dozen or more, so it was mostly freight.
Was there any younger people or were they mostly older?
Well, they're older than me, that's for sure. Because I was only 12 years old, remember. And most of the others were all the older people.
Yeah, was there anything you remember about the trip? Was it rough? Did you
Oh
feel
yes,
sick?
it was rough. It was rough. They had a rough ocean voyage. And,
Well, you arrived in sometime in March or April, so it was like in the spring that you traveled, and so it could have been a rough sea.
rough sea, really rough sea. It was a rough sea. Although I wasn't sick as far as that's concerned. A lot of them were sick, but I wasn't sick. And the food was like, I wasn't used to any good, best food. So whatever I ate, that's all. Whatever they gave me, I ate. That's all.
No, did you, if you'd have your chance to go back to Europe, to be in any place that you can go, what would be the place that you would like to go?
I tell you, I when I was last time, I was 1 hour's ride from Hungary, Armenia. When I was in Missouri, Switzerland. And I talked to mother, I said, how about let's take something? Oh no, I wouldn't go behind iron curtain for it. But my cousin, Rosie and Alex took a trip. They went to the town where Kretschner and Bitchke, he says that was the proudest sight that he ever saw. It was he says, when I told her that I would go see him, he said, don't do that, son. It's entirely different. Even this Jewish cemetery was obliterated.
So everything that you remember is gone.
It's gone there. The houses are there, but that's as far as I know. But as far as the Tanya, the range, I don't think that would, well, I would remember it as far as, that is concerned, but who owns it now, who knows it, what it was. It was very odd, you know. It's like when you watch Dallas, you know, you travel out the road all the way to their certain ranch house. But that's how it goes over there. Now, who the hell owns it? Who the hell owns it? I wouldn't know. Of course, I would like to go through all those streets, you know, there were so many different groups running, travel through the town, but I don't think anybody would be there. Even the kids that I used to play with, they're still
We have a lot more to talk about, so this comes to the end of the interview. I guess you come up with a story regarding your childhood in Europe.
yes.
And so the next time we'll get together and talk, we'll talk about what it was like when you came to the United States, and what it was like as a young man.
Fine, that'll be good.
Okay, David, here you sit with Papa.
Okay. All right, let's go now. Look at that. See that? Look, there's gonna take a picture of you. There's gonna take a picture of you. You're gonna take a picture of you. Your picture, you.
Sing him a song, Dad.
Huh?
You got all those good songs, sing to him.
All right.